against him.
Agree, that is the concern, but Mike's doing a good job baiting right now. Look at where Sam is on the rotation over towards this purple buff, and he's already gotten the pluck from Rongyu. That could be kill potential.
Well, here it is, the early leap in, but the jumps don't land from Mike, but everyone's here. It might not matter if the Impale connects. First blood of this Clash of the Titans goes to the Dragons. And how does it start? With pressure over in duo on the back of Mike on his signature Fenrir.
That's pre-planning. It's being ahead of what
that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But the shell change not here just yet. Doesn't seem like, though, really these teams have been too deterred from picking up the Ankile. A little bit of a price increase, a little less power on it. Physical power, obviously. But they're not done with that as Mike moves into our core. The pillar well placed. Desert Fury there too. And they get the kill and the beads perfectly executed from this duo lane. And listen, man, I know there's a lot of talk about that MO Rat for duo lane, the Jeff Barrett duo lane, but I don't know, man. This Mike Panda Cat one, it might be the best we've ever had. But, you know, is it just poke that doesn't end up resulting in kills, or are you actually doing relevant damage to set up for winning these team fights? So that's going to be the key question for Hurry. Could he show us on that? Vin had a great performance on it as Mike gets plucked in, but uses the opportunity to get aggressive. Shinto responds with an ultimate zone, and the beads come out from Panatom, so he goes up into the Palau, and Mike should be dead to rights here. Nothing for him to do. But what? There's no follow-up. Okay, Panatom got the dot on him, so Mike goes down. Now the pluck ends up landing on the Sam, who's all still low. Leviathans respond with a 3v3 battle and come out on top.
Yeah, that Fear No Evil just does not do enough there for Sam for Soccer. It's a 2-for-0. And Mike was just on a different page, it felt like, than Heroin. Panatom was about to back.
Mike in again. Can't be knocked up in the middle of the Brutalize, so he keeps it going as Rongyu attacks. And they are back on the Fury, but all five here this time as Fine OK rotates in. Julio is nearby in mid, but Mike moves forward to zone. Fury low, Frenzy popped, and Fear No Evil confirms the Dragons the objective, and Rongyu ends up falling. Now it's the Ragnarok onto Julio, who tries to keep this fight going, and his damage is good. He's got Mike locked down, but the team in the back has been zoned out by great presence from Fine, as well as Sam, who makes his way in, and Shinto will fall to his pressure. It's a great fight from the Jade Dragons, and they send the Leviathans running.
And you find OK not done sending Yarkor quite yet. Aegis is still available for Yarkor, but holds on to it, gives Fine OK the respect, and pays the price. 3-for-0 Gold Fury in tow for the Jade Dragons. And I think that was a demonstration.
And a critical fight for the Dragons. Look at how this lead has exploded now, about 4,000 gold ahead, a little bit more than that as the Greater Scorpion on right goes down. Jade Dragons are ready to put another big objective on the map, and Julio, the target, he didn't have beads for another 30 seconds. They drop Fear No Evil as well. They want Julio absolutely dead and buried. Frenzy committed. Julio still alive, and now the Leviathans can re-engage after a heavy commitment from the Dragons, and Hurwin, the target in the back of the fight, onto the Palau goes Panatom, and Shinto puts Hurwin in a casket. Next target is Mike, but he leaps away over the wall. What a turnaround from the Chaos team when their boy was dead to rights. But Fine doing a great job in the middle of this fight, still keeping it going as Sam comes in to look for more action.
Oh, Panatom immediately met with an impale by Panda Cat. Stay off my boy. I've got his back. That shell right there on top of it. No chance to take down Sam for Soccer. And Fine OK is not allowed to get away with that, man. How is he in the midst of 4 people taking no damage? No one even wants to hit him. They don't want to, because then they'll think maybe
right now, but he better not pay for it with his life as Mike comes in, cancels the Brutalize, and now Panatom engaging again hardcore. Does get the Fear No Evil right in his face, trades out for the Palau, but in the backline, Fine OK and Mike are looking for the carries of the Leviathans. It's just Fine OK now as Mike's been pushed out, and he looks for Julio instead, who drops the beads in what seems like a losing effort. Sam claims his life, and even though, again, it looks like the Leviathans get off to a good start, they're a bit jumpy. I don't know if I love Panatom all-inning there.
Yeah, thinks that he got the beads out.
They come into this with a 7k gold lead, and the Fire Giant already well down below half. Rongyu here, in comes Yarkor, but what can they do? The Fire Giant in range, and the Dragons secure it, despite all of that drama, but there are some low members in Mike at the back of the team fight, but it's still Fine OK engaging, forcing out Yarkor's relics, and winning the DPS race up against an ADC, but in comes Shinto to provide some damage, a little stim pack for his boy, but Fine OK repositions. Now it's Hurwin's job to get involved, has to use the Aegis though, so he can retreat, but I think he might be stuck in the wrong part of town. Yarkor gets the kill, but in comes Sam with the Fear No Evil for a double. That turns the fight around on its head, and Yarkor too low. Sam finds a triple kill. The kid is nuts.
But he can't stay up forever. Eventually he goes down to Panatom. It takes a lot though, and Julio is in a lot of trouble. Sunder, Frenzy, see you later. Just Panatom up and standing against 3 members of the Jade Dragons with that Fire Giant buff. Hurry looks like he's hard inting there, that he dives in all by himself, but
this fight lands near. Hurry went instead, and my man went from one evil to a much greater evil, it felt there, but he is back with the squad. Fine OK now in the middle, and they are putting out decent damage. At the Rage Transformation, they pluck Fine OK back into the squad. Meanwhile, Panatom winning the duel up against Sam for Soccer. This is such a huge kill if Panatom can find it, but so far proving elusive, and Fine OK winning the battle back up against the Leviathans. Jarkor already put down, and so much of the DPS for the Leviathans already lost, so Fine OK keeps up the aggression. Whirlwind able to find Julio and Shinto just running for his life. If Panatom had a chance to get Sam, that window has closed. He's got to come back to the boys and help out because they're in danger of losing the game. Shinto been removed, and it's 5 of the Dragons with a chance to take this game away from the Leviathans. The Titan down to half, and no one here to defend. 26 minutes and 35 seconds, and the Dragons win game 1.
I don't know what you do against the Jade Dragons because Fine OK looks like he looks like he's hacking, dude. I don't get it. He doesn't.
And they're in position to find some nice kills.
And look, I mean, the Sobek-Willish combo is one that goes back many, many years. That's an old Eager special. Aurora used to run that quite a bit with DJ Pernicus. I mean, it was
that's right, Fern.
It was solid back then. It's going to be solid now. You don't have a whole lot of leaps,
yes,
but that's not going to stop Panatom for going for Heroin right away. Blink in, no hesitation. Say goodbye to 60% of your health bar. Love it.
How does Herwin not use beads there, though? Good recognition from him that I don't think it would have changed much in that equation, right? So just getting out. We're the ones looking for some early pressure this time to help us get to our strong late game.
Well, Panatom's not a jungler that can do that much more effectively pre-5 than he could last game on the Dodgy. That Dodgy pick did end up being a little bit weak, but check this out. Sam going for an early gank.
But Julio leaping out of the way. Stun connects. Does he have the poke? There's so much available, but it isn't enough. Julio might even be slightly healthier than Fine OK despite all of that gank presence. So lots of action early, but the subjects of that action have not overreacted. They've calmly avoided it. Taken off their Bumbas, not entirely the cooldown, but half of that. Shifters coming down a bit as well as on Kile with the power and price. We'll see if that continues to affect these builds, if they'll find some new way. As Rongyu consumes the blink, but he's got Panatom nearby, and that's enough for first blood. Rongyu gets it, maybe in that spot. Let your jungler get that last hit, but I don't think it matters a whole lot. Just catching Panda Cat out and getting the beads, that's pretty big. Should be another kill for him if they can come over there.
Yeah, pretty big mistake there by Panda to use the beads, number 1, to path the way he did, number 2, and to dash into the wall. Maybe should have been number 1 on that list, I suppose. But a couple of rare mistakes from Panda Cat lead to that kill. And look at this, immediately straight waiting for him out of base. But Panda, he's a streamer, he's used to it.
He's already dashed, though. I think that might just be the end of this one, and it indeed is. Panatom just going to leave on Suku, as in comes Whirlwind, and in comes Sam for Soccer. They do want blood in exchange for blood, but they sure did give him the streamer special there, didn't he? Panda Cat looked ready for it, but they were waiting for him in between the Tier 1 and Tier 2. Not quite as toxic as the in-between Tier 2 and Phoenix I've sometimes seen, but still pretty frustrating for the ADC.
Listen, I mean, you go from pretty different games now for Panda Cat, where he got first blood in game number 1, was untouched basically throughout the entire game, finished without a death on the scoreboard. Now, he is really behind on this Cupid, and Heimdall's a god that can feel really oppressive when he's ahead. If your beads are down, like they still are for Panda Cat, Jarkor can play up on you from this position, but it looks like it's not Sam that's likely to gank the solo lane. It might be the Leviathans. They're grouped and ready to go on this right-hand side of the map.
I wonder if they have the information. They're going to use the presence in right to get the greater Scorpion, but they have to be careful. The Dragons are here in force. There's the pull. Sam is going to fall. I'm a Monster does seem to connect his Panatom's low, and he has got to find a route to maneuver because the boys are here in force. Stun from Fine OK nets him his first kill of the game by cutting down the enemy jungler. It's jungle for jungle, but Panatom got the kill first, then died, and Sam really got nothing. How do you call that one, Aggro?
Because everyone's beads are up. Both times the combo has worked, it's because beads are down. So instead of trying to pick the fight, they go to the objective instead. Love it.
And switch to this Flame Stance in Merlin. That should burn through the objectives. No one on the Dragons any the wiser. And if they are not coming over to contest. A great heads-up call from the Leviathans to switch over to the Fury, steal that one away, not even steal, but take it uncontested. A huge play from this, and we had to hope that if any team could give this. So it is nice to see what their strat is. They kind of sent PandaCat out in an escape pod, though, didn't they? They're not heading back over there. They're kind of letting him handle that long lane for himself, and he has stayed about a level and a half behind. As Wrongyou and Panatom blink, there's the Herwin pulled in, but Panatom, the one low, the one hit by a monster. But they do get Herwin in the end. Jungle traded for mid, but now Wrongyou stuck alone. Ultimate committed here from Sam as he keeps up the aggression. Tail Whip buys a moment, but Wrongyou just left. No one can come to help, and he'll fall. Good damage, though, from Shinto, and maybe Julio can clean up, and he does. Sam goes down. Jungle for mid, traded for jungle support.
And the relic situation on the Jade Dragons is looking barren after that fight. I mean, both relics used by Hurry, beads used by Sam for Soccer. Shinto got so much damage off in that fight. He was really contributing and letting Julio come in and clean up those fights on the back end. Really good play by Panatom. A little bit of an unfortunate situation there for Herwind when you leap, or in Silas Wrongyou goon squatting through the jungle together and just making people uncomfortable and playing on that right side of the map a little bit more, or on enemy buffs, and just letting their backline go to work in the late game.
PandaCat the target again as Panatom comes in. Fields of Love drop, but Panatom uses the beads to keep up the pressure, and Shinto over the wall gets the kill credit. That is double relics from Panatom as well, so PandaCat forced a good trade. But I think we're seeing the beginnings of trouble for Panatom. Double shell for the backline, Herwin and PandaCat.
Tower, but maybe letting them get that tower was the better idea. You know, let them overcommit their time a little bit, because he only needed a couple more seconds for Hurry and Sam to get there. Yeah.
But now the backup is on the side of Leviathans. I like the idea from Fine OK looking for a stun. Can he prove elusive again? He cannot. He goes down to the gank on the right side from the Leviathans, and now it's their pace. Now the Dragons have to respond to the Leviathans' calls as they spread out this. This is a huge play. Can the Leviathans leverage their lead, or will the Dragons force their way back in? Wrongyou on to Sam to force him out. The fire still leashed. And Herwin up in the I'm a Monster. He's getting close for the steal, and there is no way for them to burn it. The Fire Giant doesn't go down, and the Dragons steal it away at the last final minute. But Julio does get the kill onto Sam, but what a play from the Dragons to at least get the objective.
And it's Polar Bear Mike who does it to him. The crushing earth, the Terra 2 is the thing. I think it's an okay idea to fight in that position. I think it's okay to pull the Jade Dragons in. You got Herwin's ultimate, but when the fire gets that low and then Herwin drops the ultimate in and still fire doesn't get reset, now you're in a really bad position and you end up trading 1 for nothing and a Fire Giant steal. The carries, you can see them on the map there, still on fire. They've got to get out of that pit a little bit earlier. They just can't stick around quite that long.
And you see the tanks on the tail end kind of realize that, right?
To take this engagement, because Panda's only a level down. He's got both his relics. He's at the same point in his item build as Yarkor.
Well, this Oni Fury could be a nice little win here for the Leviathans. They get it, but in comes Fine OK and Wrongyou. Mike just had to be the sacrificial lamb. He avoids the I'm a Monster, but they commit Fields of Love as well, and still Wrongyou lives, but Yarkor, or Julio, excuse me, makes his way in. He's the one in trouble, but makes his way back out. But a lot committed. I wonder if the Dragons just going to kind of call this here of the Leviathan, say, I know you got to reset, and just head to fire. That seems to be Sam's play.
But the win also so good in that moment. The Jade Dragons might have been caught a little bit too much. Remember, they have the burn, not the secure.
That's right, and the Leviathans do have the objective burning. Herwin on the way with I'm a Monster, and he steals it away. Leviathans had no one there to keep Herwin out, so they take the fight on the back end. But I think Sam ready to re-engage. Panatom goes down first. Shinto grabbed by Fine OK and looking to reposition, but he needs a bit of backup, and Herwin has removed Yarkor. No, it's disaster for Leviathans. At the very least, they do get rid of PandaCat, but Shinto explodes underneath the damage from Mike's ultimate, and that is a 3-for-1 plus FG in favor of the Dragons. The game just changed in an instant.
I think they might have still be able to end this game effectively with Sam chasing out Wrongyou. Likely not. That's going to prevent them from ending the game because they just don't have good tower DPS. But Wrongyou should eventually fall on this chase from Sam. I don't know if they're going to be able to even get a Phoenix though here, Finch. They just don't have the objective damage to do so.
No, not without Panda Cat and not with Wrong You keeping Sam busy. They're just kind of hanging out in the back there. I appreciate the friendliness from Sam, but you want to rejoin the squad ASAP here on this one. But as you said, they've kind of pulled off of the actual base sieging that we thought they would do. Here's a look, though, at Herwind coming up. And Agro, I don't think he's going to see a whole lot of resistance on the way.
No, Julio just is far too close to the Fire Giant. He blinks in and Barb spears them. I mean, that's not stopping Asilla in the middle of her ultimate. That zone has got to be better established there for the Leviathans. But the call is to burn and try and get it whenever Jade Dragons were likely for me. So he ends up not doing it. It is going to be kind of hard for the Jade Dragons to initiate these fights unless Mike does that.
Unless Mike makes his way instantly fine, okay, just walks in from the back and says, I'll take my pick, and it's your core who does end up having to give up the beads. I'm a Monster connects Julio now low, and who's in the thick of it? It's Sam. He retreats on the back of that piercing moonlight, and that means Polar Bear Mike can just pick up where he left off. Spine okay, gets the kill onto your core, and just like that, the House of Cards, the Leviathans built up, have collapsed. Wrong You collected as well. Still haven't gotten the tier 2 fellas. The Dragons will go back and clean that up, but what a fight. Panatom, that's about as ill-advised as I've ever seen. Yes, you're going to have to retreat from that one. And now the Leviathans can start to clean.
And they've got Sustain on the Jade Dragons. It's not the typical Aphrodite or Yemoja, but Terra Cupid will get the job done. They're going to try and end the game here.
Panatom, Shito, and Julio, the only thing keeping Leviathans in this set, 28 minutes in, and the Dragons are on the Order side. Titan, fine okay, pulled in, but has beads. Mike low, but the Titan at half HP as well. They've gotten rid of the tanks, so the carries have to commit, but Panatom has a double kill, but I'm a Monster says we're done. Panatom goes down, the Titan as well, and the Dragons find a way to get the 2-0.
Still down in kills when